Today, let us embark upon a journey through the corridors of power and passion, as we uncover the secrets of the maîtresses en titre, the officially recognized mistresses of kings. These women were not merely companions, but wielded significant influence over the courts and the monarchs they served. However, this power came at a price. Mistresses existed to please the king, relying on their beauty, charm, and wit. They were possessions that could be easily replaced if their favor declined. Their lives were a fascinating mix of luxury and vulnerability, a dance of seduction and submission within the glittering yet ruthless world of European royalty. Their sole purpose was to satisfy the king's desires. The royal mistress, a behind-the-scenes power player. Mistresses in royal courts were often aristocrats with noble titles, granted by the king as a reward for their services. While princesses were taught to be proper and obedient, mistresses learned to cater to the egos and desires of powerful men. Becoming a king's mistress was a highly competitive endeavor, requiring more than just beauty and charm. Intelligence, grace, and the ability to anticipate the king's desires were essential qualities. Mistresses had to patiently wait for the king's attention, often engaging in activities like embroidery or planning extravagant dinners to entertain him. Unlike the queen, whose position was secure, a mistress lived a precarious life. She had to constantly work to maintain her status, wealth, and influence. The allure of the king's favor was so powerful that mistresses were willing to do almost anything to keep his attention. The sacrifices made for royal favor. Mistresses were expected to fulfill the king's every need and desire, even if it involved questionable fetishes. Lola Montes, a skilled mistress known for her liaisons with King Ludwig of Bavaria, indulged in his unusual fascination with feet. Despite her lack of physical attraction to the king, she understood the importance of satisfying his desires to maintain her position. Lola carefully crafted her persona, blending a hint of unattainability with passionate devotion. While court gossip focused on scandal, mistresses were more than just tools for royal pleasure. They were cunning players in the political game, forming alliances, bribing servants, and using their influence to sway decisions. The stakes were high for mistresses, as their wealth, titles, and power depended on maintaining the king's favor. They understood that true power lay not only in seducing the monarch, but also in navigating the complex relationships within the palace walls. The curse of the king, dealing with the unquenchable desires of a royal mistress. Barbara Palmer, known as Lady Castlemaine, was one of Charles II's most infamous mistresses. She had a fiery temper, was involved in politics, and was very sexually active, even while married to John Palmer. Barbara was widely considered beautiful and had a passionate relationship with Charles II. However, she was also known for her temper and threats of violence. Despite her scandalous behavior, Charles remained captivated by her physical charms. Barbara's insatiable sexual appetite led her to take other lovers, including her cousin John Churchill. Charles once caught them together in Barbara's bedroom. In her later years, she married Robert Fielding, a much younger man who squandered her money. Royal mistresses were often at the forefront of fashion, setting trends with their lavish wardrobes. Court ladies imitated their styles, leading to an arms race of extravagant clothing and accessories. However, this conspicuous consumption was criticized by moralists, who saw it as a symbol of corruption. Despite the criticism, however, mistresses continued to drive fashion trends. Their portraits served as inspiration for women of all social classes, fueling industries for cosmetics, accessories, and bespoke clothing. The existence of royal mistresses sparked debates about morality, virtue, and the corrupting influence of power. Some intellectuals argued that mistresses, unbound by vows, were freer to pursue genuine love compared to queens trapped in arranged marriages. The use of love potions to capture a king's heart. Madame de Montespan, a cunning and alluring woman, sought to capture the attention of King Louis XV, who was already in a relationship with another mistress. She sought help from a witch, who offered various magical services for a hefty fee. Madame de Montespan used love potions and other unconventional methods to win over the king, eventually succeeding in ending his relationship with his existing mistress. Her dedication to pleasing the king included enduring painful beauty treatments and following strict dietary regimens. While mistresses enjoyed a luxurious lifestyle, Their position was precarious and subject to the king's favor. They needed to cultivate friendships with powerful people and be aware of court politics. The mistress's existence was a public humiliation for the queen, a constant reminder of her husband's infidelity and her powerlessness. The queen's suffering was often acknowledged and pitied by the public. Art and literature frequently portrayed the queen as a tragic figure, emphasizing her lonely dignity in contrast to the mistress's frivolous behavior. This portrayal served as a subtle critique of the societal double standards that forced queens to endure their husband's infidelity. To maintain her dignity, the queen often focused on religious devotion and charitable work. These actions helped to reinforce her image as a virtuous woman wronged by her husband. They did whatever it took. Madame de Pompadour, the principal mistress of Louis XV of France, exemplified the challenges and rewards of her position. She catered to the king's every whim, shaping her entire life to ensure his pleasure. Despite enjoying the attention of the court, she struggled with personal issues, including frigidity and health problems. To revitalize her libido and keep pace with the king, Madame de Pompadour adopted an unconventional diet. However, this approach often made her unwell. Women in her position were willing to go to great lengths to please their powerful lovers, understanding that their status depended on the king's favor. Unlike many mistresses who were discarded when their initial allure faded, Madame de Pompadour managed to transform her relationship with Louis XV into one of friendship and deep trust. She became his confidant, offering companionship, conversation, and a haven from the pressures of court life. Madame de Pompadour was not only a mistress, but also a woman of intelligence and culture. She appreciated architecture, botany, and gem cutting, using these interests to engage the king. She was always prepared to meet his needs, whether it was food, conversation, or intimacy. Even during personal tragedies, such as the deaths of her daughter and father, she concealed her grief to avoid upsetting the king. While mistresses enjoyed wealth and luxury, their position was precarious and subject to the king's changing desires. They faced a constant struggle to maintain their status and influence, using various strategies to secure their future. Some mistresses resorted to blackmail or other unethical tactics to protect their position. Despite the challenges, mistresses were often admired for their boldness and ability to navigate the complex world of court politics. They faced scrutiny and judgment from society, but their pursuit of power and pleasure was undeniable.